All right, thank you, David. My name is Gabrielle. I am a Georgia Southwestern student and a Pope Fellow. I have the privilege to introduce our next speaker, Miss Beth Dow. Beth is a summa cum laude graduate of LaGrange College with a BA in psychology and social work. She is a certified Alzheimer's educator, a certified senior advisor, and a geriatric case manager. Beth opened a home care agency in 2007. Her goal was to provide families with support as they cared for their aging parents. As the business grew, her husband and son joined her business. In 2018, she turned the business over to her son Grant in order to pursue her passion, which is education. In January of 2018, Beth launched a new company, Solutions by Beth. The goal of SB Squared is to provide guidance and education to both the family and the professional caregiver. Beth presents community presentations and workshops for seniors, the children of aging parents, and family and professional caregivers. She has provided CEU programs for many hospitals, senior communities, rehab, nursing, and hospice, as well as other professional organizations. Her most recent endeavor is the publication of her new book, My Loved One Has Dementia, Now What? Beth has spoken at national and state conferences. Beth is designated Dealing with Dementia Trainer for the Rosalynn Carter Institute for Caregiving. She is a past county chair for the Walk to End Alzheimer's in Coweta and Troup counties. She is a past board chair for Noonan Coweta Habitat for Humanity, past president of Historic Noonan Kiwanis, and is presently on the board for the Home Care Association of America, Georgia chapter, and Dunson Redevelopment Corporation. Dunson Apartments, a property of DASH, Dependable, Affordable, Sustainable Housing. Dunson Apartments is a senior living community. She has been married to her childhood sweetheart for 40 years, and they have 2 boys, 2 daughters-in-laws, and 5 grandchildren. Beth and her husband, Philip, love to travel. Please welcome Beth Dow.
Trying to figure out my switcher. Oh, they're pulling it up. Okay. Unlike David, no one's ever told me I talk soft. So with this microphone, it's going to be really loud. There we go. Let me go backwards. Almost. I wonder why it won't play. Okay, y'all remember the A-Team? I had the music. It was really going to get y'all going, but I don't have the music now. But if you are my age, this is who you remembered as being the A-Team. If you're a little younger than that, this is the group you're going to remember. And I found out that if you're like even younger, you don't even have a clue who they are. So I'm sorry. But the A-Team was this group of guys that if you were in trouble, if you had no one to turn to, if you had this huge problem and you didn't know what to do, they were your team. That was who you called. And they would solve your problem for you. They would go out and conquer whatever hill you needed to climb that you couldn't climb by yourself, and they would do it. And at the end of every show, Hannibal would say, I love it when a plan comes together. And that's when you knew that they had found the solution. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to build your A-Team, your care team. You know, the whole emphasis of this workshop is to empower the caregiver. And you can't empower the caregiver unless you give them the tools they need to do the job. And so that's what we're trying to do today, is give you the tools you need to do the job. And so we're going to work on your care team, your A-Team. First thing you need to know about your A-Team and about caregiving is that you can do this. One of the hardest things to be told as a caregiver is that a loved one has some chronic illness and you're now going to be responsible. And you don't think you can do it because you don't see how you can do it. You know, used to, people would talk about, oh, your plate's full. We don't have plates anymore, we have platters. You know, so now your platter is full and someone's just told you that you're going to have to add 20 hours on average of additional time to your platter. to take care of your loved one. And we don't know that we can do that, but I want you to know you can do it, but you can't do it alone. So there's a few things that I want to set up first of what you need to do before we start talking about your care team. The first thing is learn everything you can possibly learn about whatever the illness is of your loved one. Today is a wonderful start. Learn everything you can know, because the more you know, the better able you are to handle whatever comes forward. Somebody used to tell me that the reason you plan for stuff isn't so that it goes perfectly, because nothing ever goes perfectly. The reason you plan is so when the unexpected happens, you can do it. You can work through it. So you need to learn everything you can possibly learn. The next thing you're going to do is call a mandatory family meeting. And family doesn't have to be blood relatives, it can be friends. This can be your circle of influence, the people that are around you. And you're going to call a family meeting and you're going to say, look, there's only 3 things you're going to do in this family meeting. Is you're going to say, this is what we've been diagnosed with. This is it. Number 2, this is what it means. This is the prognosis. This is what we're going to go through. This is what it means. And number 3, I cannot do this myself. You're not asking them for help. You're not even taking help. Those are the only 3 things you're doing in this meeting. This is what we've been dealt with. This is what it means, and I cannot survive this alone. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to run, not walk to David. We put this on the back burner all the time until it's too late. I deal mostly with Alzheimer's and dementia. Once you've been diagnosed, very often I do classes for pastors of churches. And I go in and I teach them about how to minister to their families that are going through long-term care. I had a pastor in my class that had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's 3 years ago. He still taught. He still pastored his church. He's perfectly capable of making his decisions on his own. So just because your loved one's been diagnosed doesn't mean they can't start making decisions. That's when you need to make them. Like David said, if you put it on the back burner, they're going to get where they can't, and then you've got to make those decisions. And some of those decisions are really hard to make. So you need to go, make them, do it now. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to the doctor. I got in trouble for this one time because I told people, you're going to go to the doctor, you're going to get on medication for depression and antidepressants and anxiety medicine. And I was told, you can't tell people that. No, that's not how you do it. That's not the healthy way to do it. What you need to do is exercise, eat right, and get plenty of sleep. How many caregivers can do those things? Raise your hand. Exactly. The right way is to exercise, eat right, and get plenty of sleep. But caregiving, we can't do that. Your brain is going berserk because you're not eating right. You're not getting enough sleep. You're not resting. You're going through all this strain. We need help. So if you can go to the doctor and get some medication to help you slow your brain down enough to help you make sense of this, you need to do it. So I want you to go to the doctor and get something, okay, to get through this. My daddy was a Agent Orange kid, so he came back from Vietnam with every illness known to man. Lou Gehrig's cancer, COPD, I mean, I'm telling you everything. And when Mama got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, pretty early into the system, we put Daddy on Lexapro. And Daddy was going, I don't need this. Your Mama's the one who needs something. Why am I on something? And we said, because of Mama is why you need it. You know, you've got to get through this. So go to the doctor. Next thing is do not isolate. Isolation is the worst possible thing we do to ourselves. And caregivers isolate. As your loved one progresses in their illness or disease, it's harder to get anywhere with them. It takes double the time. I had a lady that told me once she has a developmentally challenged adult daughter, and she says, what you don't understand is every morning I take 2 baths, I brush 2 sets of teeth, I wash 2 sets of hair, I get dressed 2 times. Everything I do is 2 times. So instead of going somewhere, it's easier not to go. First place we don't go is church. First place families drop out of is church. It's harder to get there, so we isolate. We don't take our loved one places because it's embarrassing. You quit going out to eat. My daddy loved to go out to eat. Mama, when we would sit at the table, she would raise her glass. Hey, I want some drink. Bring me something to drink. Talk about embarrassing. So you quit going. You isolate. And then your friends don't know what to say or do. When they come over, they don't know what to talk to you about or what to talk to your loved one about. So they quit coming because they feel kind of odd. And so you isolate and you're by yourself. So I need you to make a commitment that no matter what, you're not going to isolate. That's going to do more damage to you than about anything. And you got to not do this alone. You will not survive if you try to do this alone. And I think I actually took this to from Mike. But this is what I signed up for. This is my grandmama and granddaddy. Granddaddy married grandmama when he was 16 years old. She had a 2-year-old child out of wedlock. Today, that's not really that unusual. Back then, it was awful. My granddaddy's family said, if you marry that woman, we will disown you. He married her, and they disowned him. He adopted her 2-year-old daughter. His family never knew her, never met her, never knew us. In this picture, my grandmama doesn't even know who that man is. Grandmama had vascular dementia. She referred to him as that man who takes care of me, or Good Joe. She had no clue what he had given up for her, what he had given up for her daughter. All she knew is that he had taken care of her. He took care of her every day until the day he died of a massive heart attack. Because 40 to 70% of caregivers who are caring for someone with long-term illness die before the person they're taking care of. Now that's a big gap, but this is why it's a big gap. If you are 20 or you are 30 and you're taking care of someone with long-term illness and you're fairly healthy, you're probably going to make it. But if you're 60 or you're 70 or you're 80 and you're really not in that much better care than the one you're taking care of, you're not going to survive. You cannot do it alone. My granddaddy didn't survive. My granddaddy was an Army sergeant. We thought he could do everything. And when we would ask him, how you doing, granddaddy? I got it. And we thought he did, but he didn't. Mother Teresa says, I can do things you cannot do. You can do things I cannot do. And together we can do great things. Your loved one deserves great things. And you deserve great things. But you got to have help to do the great things. So we're going to build your care team. First person on your care team is going to be a planner. Your planner works closely with a primary caregiver. Planner can be 2 people. Planner doesn't have to be 1 person. You can have 2 planners. A planner has to be a good communicator. They don't mind asking others to do things. They're always thinking what's next. They're thinking the next step. You know, with the disease like dementia or any types of the dementia, you're always a step behind. Always. It doesn't matter what you do. My mother has Alzheimer's. She's had it for 15 years. I know this stuff inside and out, and I cannot tell you how many times I was a step behind. You're always a step behind. You need this planner to be always thinking what's next. The planner doesn't have to live locally. When I talk to families, very often they'll say, I don't have anybody. All my kids live out of state. Nobody lives near me. Your planner does not have to live there. A planner can live states away. But you need a planner. A planner can be paid or not paid. When we talk about your care team may be paid people. At some point, as the disease progresses, your care team will be paid people. Mike's wife, where she is living, the community she's living, is part of his care team. He's still part of the team. They're just members of the team. Very often, if you don't have anybody that fits this Description, this is a good first hire for someone that has to go out and hire somebody. You would hire somebody like a geriatric case manager to help you to do this planning. The next person you're going to need is a scheduler. The scheduler is well organized. Once again, this can also be 2 people. Once again, they do not have to live locally, and it's easily shared with the planner. There are so many things the scheduler can do. I love, there's all kinds of apps on your phone or different places. One is called FAMCAL, F-A-M-C-A-L. It is a free app. It is a family calendar. I recommend these for churches to use also. But on this family calendar, you can put on it, John, haircut, 10 o'clock, October 27th. Doctor's appointment, this date. So you put everything that you need on this family calendar. And then your families all see it. Everybody can look at it and see it. And they can pick what they want to do. And it's just the neatest little thing. And for churches, it's great. Because everybody puts their needs on the calendar. And any church member, after they go through background screenings and yada, yada, yada that we have to do now, can go in there and they can pick what they want to do and take care of it. So a planner is helping plan these things. They're trying to make sure that it's spread out through all the different tasks that need to be done. The doers. The doers are the boots on the ground. These are the people that do have to live here. Okay, this is about the only person that has to live nearby. They're each going to have a task. They may have more than one task, but they're going to have a task and they know what their task is going to be. As the disease progresses, these too may have to be skilled people. Okay, so as it progresses, you may have to hire somebody. The person next door may no longer be able to do it. But for a very long time, these can be friends, family members, and other people. So they're the doers. Next person on your team, and every team needs to have one, and this is one place that teams fall apart, is you need an encourager. Someone that's going to thank everyone, someone that's going to make phone calls, emails. Once again, this person doesn't need to live locally. When people are helping someone, a lot of times they don't get the thanks, and it's not because we don't thank them for it. It means so much to us that they're doing things, but we're so tired. We just don't think about saying thank you. And the person they're caring for sometimes can't or doesn't know to say thank you. So you're doing all these things for people, and then you don't think anybody appreciates it. This encourager is so important. It keeps your team going. It keeps your team motivated. It keeps your team understanding that they are making a difference. And that's all we want to do is make a difference. And this person helps them know that every day they're making that difference. The financier. Not every team's going to have one. But when I work with families who tell me they don't have anybody that can help them financially, and we start going through a list, we can almost always find somebody that can help them financially. This is a wonderful asset. You can have more than one, which is really cool. And they too don't have to live locally. They can live wherever. These are the ones that live 3 and 4 states away, and they say, I would love to help Aunt Jenny, but I don't know what I can do. Well, they can write a check, and they gladly do it. They have to be asked, because they don't know, but they'll do it. So you're going, wait a minute, I don't have a team this big. So this is what you need to understand. These are titles. They're roles, okay? Multiple roles can be held by 1 to 2 people. The most important thing about your team and these roles is that the primary caregiver isn't doing them. Because if you're a primary caregiver and you don't have a team, you just did every one of those things every day. No wonder you're tired. You've got to have a team that does these things, not the primary caregiver. So what does the team do? The team is not in place to do the things the primary caregiver cannot do. The team is there to do the things the primary caregiver does not have to do. This is real important. The only thing I cannot do, the only thing no one else can do for my mama is to be her daughter. That is the only thing no one else can do. Everything else that needs to be done for my mama, someone else can do. Now, I may choose to do it. We choose to do lots of things as primary caregivers because we're going to say, I'm the only one who can do that. But the only thing no one else can do for your loved one is be their mama, be their daddy, be their child, be their sibling, be their spouse. That's the only thing someone else cannot do. Everything else is on the table. Everything else is up for grabs for this team. These are tasks that a primary caregiver does not have to do. These are just a couple of them. Grocery shopping. I love Amazon. They deliver Ritz crackers to my front door. It is so cool. You know, now, and I'm just Kroger. Y'all have Kroger here? Just Kroger? Y'all don't have Kroger? Kroger. They have a click. Walmart. You just go online, you put down what you want, you drive up, they put the bags in the back of your truck, and you drive off. It is cool. I could live in California and deliver groceries to your house. You don't have to go. Primary caregiver does not have to do meal preparation. There are all kinds of meals that come straight to your home, and they don't have to be the yucky meals. They have good meals, fresh, that can come to your home. Anyone, anywhere can order these and have them delivered to your home. This is the first place that we got Mom and Daddy help. My mama loved to cook. We're from a long line of cookers. Just as on the video Carol said, she quit cooking. That's one of the first ways that you can tell with women. That's one of the first signs they show is they quit cooking because they can't figure out the sequence. And that's what happened to Mama. When Mama quit cooking, we started noticing their health going down because they were eating Sofer's lasagna and just junk food. So the first place we got Mama help and Daddy help was having somebody come in and cook for them. Or we would go in on the weekends and cook for them. But that's the first place. So there, laundry. Who loves to do laundry? Wouldn't you? Oh my God, you're so sick. Okay, she likes to do laundry. So if y'all need, where do you live? Okay, I'm sorry. You may have to ship it. But you don't have to do laundry. There's someone that can do laundry for you. There's somebody that loves to do laundry, okay? When my daughter-in-law was pregnant, she had just one of those really rough pregnancies. I would bring her laundry over and do it all the time with mine. You know, there's people that do laundry. General housekeeping, there's people that will do that. Yard work, home maintenance, bill payment, taking the care recipients to appointments, to the hairdresser, supervision of the care recipient. These are things the caregiver does not have to do. They're things we do because we think we have to. I've got to take them to the doctor. No, you don't. Why? I got to know what the doctor says. Whoever takes them can tell you. So you give away any task that doesn't refuel you. Now I had shopping up there. Cooking up there. Like I said, I'm a long line of cookers. I love to cook. Y'all heard of the love languages, the book, the 5 love languages? Okay. Cooking is the 6th love language. He left that out, okay? This is how I show love. So as a caregiver, don't take this away from me. Don't tell me, oh, we're going to have family Thanksgiving over at someone else's house this year. Okay? Don't do that. Cooking refuels me. Okay? Don't take laundry away from her. Okay? It fills her up. So the only thing you're not going to give away is any task that does fill you. Okay? Everything else, you're going to give away. Okay, one of the first conferences I came to here, and I don't remember who the speaker was, but she talked about her shelf of shame. And she said that she would come to these conferences and she would get all this information and all these ideas, and she would be so excited because she was going to go home and do it all. And then she would get home and life would happen. And it would go up on her shelf of shame, and she would never look at it again. So, I don't want that to happen to you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to make your A team. And whether you are a family caregiver, it's really important for you to do it. But you may be sitting there going, I'm a professional, I can kind of skip this part. No. Even if you're a professional, at any given time, you can get the phone call and you're going to become a primary caregiver. And if that phone call doesn't happen, you're a professional. Family caregivers are looking at you to help. If you go through this exercise, you will be better able to help them when they're trying to say, I don't have anybody to be on my team. I don't know how to do this. So I need you to get out a piece of paper. On this piece of paper, or flip over something, I want you to list potential team members. You're not trying to think, oh, they could do this, or they could do that, or oh, they can't do that, they got kids, or oh, they can't do that, they live somewhere else. These are people that have some kind of acknowledgement of you, okay? Everyone on your list will not be on your team, and you're not going to assign positions. All you're going to do is list names, okay? You're going to have a long list of names. Don't sit there, like I said, and figure out, oh, they can't do it. I want you to start making names, okay? Ready? Go. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do it. My husband is not making his list. He is going to be up a creek without a paddle. Yeah, exactly. He's waiting on me. I'm the one that's going to be demented. Yeah, he's going to wait on me. Y'all got some short list if you're through. Who you go to church with? Who you in a civic group with? Who are your relatives? Who are your cousins? Okay? Now, did I skip something? No. This clicker's weird. Okay, actually it's operator error, I know. Okay, so you're going to go through and you're going to put a letter beside their name. P for planner, S for scheduler, D for doer, E for encourager, F for financier. Now, this is just what you think. Once again, this isn't where they're going to be. You're not even going to ask them to be these things. This is just what you think. I'm telling you, if I'm on your list, I'm a planner. You're going to put a P. Just where you think they may fit. So go through and just put a little number, a letter by them. You can, one of them may have 2 or 3 letters. It's okay. Just put letters by them of where you think they may fit. Take yourself a second to do that. Okay, now I showed you some things a minute ago that someone else other than you can do. I want you to make that list. What are the tasks you do that you do not have to do? Make a list. Grocery shopping, housekeeping, walking the dog, taking the dog to the vet. Taking the care recipient to get a haircut. What do you not have to do? Cut the grass. The next step is you're going to pick your planner and scheduler. So as you go through the list, just draw a circle around anybody you put a P or S around. Then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to meet with them. You're going to tell them what you need, and you're going to let them do the rest. This is how this works. Got started today. Really, this is going to take a little bit of time to do, and you really do need to sit down and do it, but this is a good start. So if you have somebody on your list that you know can probably be your planner or scheduler, we're going to go to lunch in about half an hour. I want you to call or text them. And you go, hey, I was thinking about you today. Can we maybe have lunch next week? And you're going to meet with them. And then you're going to say, this lady told me I shouldn't be doing all of this. This lady told me I'm going to die. Do you want me to die? Guilt always works, okay? She told me you can help me not die. This is what I need. And you share with her your list. And chances are they can probably do it. Or they'll do it. And then you just give it all to them and you say, here are the people I think who can help. Here are the doers. Here are the people I think might could help financially. Here are the people that, she's really good encouraging. Every time I see her, she, says something about, hey, how you doing? And since I said, hey, how you doing, I get off track. If someone, somebody who has is taking care of somebody with long-term illness, there's two things I don't want you to do. Please don't ask them how their loved one's doing. When people ask me how my mom is doing, I have two answers, the same or worse. There is absolutely nothing good that comes out of that. So please don't ask me how my mom is doing. Then the second thing we do is we say, how are you doing? When you ask a caregiver how they're doing, what do we say? Great. Fine. Great. We're doing fine. Don't ask them how they're doing. They're going to lie to you. And once again, that conversation hasn't meant anything. What you need to ask them is, how many hours of sleep did you get last night? When is the last time you had that belly laugh? When is the last time you went out and did something with friends? Okay, those are the things, and I got off track, but those are the things you really need to ask people. But you're going to let them do the rest. You have got to have this team, and you need to have it in the beginning. But really, it doesn't matter where you are in your journey. Even if you're halfway through the journey, you can still start building your team. Because we need to survive. Because where is your loved one going to be if you don't survive? I know, and Mike talked about, the things he went through of, getting care in the home and then getting 24-hour care and then, deciding when, it was time to place his life in a community. And people say, when do I know it's time to get care in the home? Or when do I know when it's time to build a team? Or when do I know when it's time to place my loved one in a memory care community or skilled nursing? I want you to also realize it really has very little to do with the person being cared for. That decision has everything to do with the caregiver. Okay? Don't wait on when the person being cared for needs to go somewhere. You've waited too long then. It's when the person who is providing the care is being damaged, either physically, emotionally, spiritually, however they're being damaged, is when that decision needs to be made. My mama lives in her home, 24-hour care. My daddy died 4 years ago. If daddy was still alive today, my mama would not be in her home. She would be living in a community because it would have been too hard for daddy. In hindsight, even though daddy had every disease in the world, in hindsight, we probably pushed that along a little bit because we kept mama home. We probably should have moved mama before we did, and we may have had a few more years with my dad. So try to help families understand that it's really the caregiver and where that caregiver is when you need to make that decision. And we're not doing fine even though we say we are. So it does take time. It takes time to sit down and talk to people. It takes time to sit down and make these lists, and it takes time. But the amount of time it's going to give you back is invaluable. We had 24-hour care with Daddy. They've had 24-hour care for a long time just because, Daddy's mind was sharp as a tack and Mama's body was perfectly, together they made one really good person, but, separately just didn't do too good. So, but we would go spend every weekend with them, or about every weekend with them, and I kept the caregivers there. So even though I was there, we would keep the caregivers with them because I wanted to be their child. It was important to my daddy that his daughter didn't change his diaper. That was important. In the movie last night, which being an Army brat, means a lot to me, and the families that didn't make it, there's lots of reasons that they didn't make it, but I think one of the reasons is because the roles got so skewed. They quit being a mama. They quit being a wife. And once you cross over that boundary of now being a caregiver, not being the wife and the mama, I don't know how you go back. So we got to keep our roles together. So where do you start? There was another book up there. Okay. You don't have a Dealing with Dementia book, do you? No. Okay. I'm sorry. I do lots of presentations, and I steal from one and steal from the other, and I think when I stole the book out, I stole from the other. I'll start with this because this is my book. So where do you start? Much education. This is a book I have. The other program is the Dealing with Dementia program, a caregiver guide. We are starting back in January. If you have not done this program, I have been teaching this program for 3 years. I cannot tell you the response I get for the people who have gone through this program from the caregivers. It is the most comprehensive book on caregiving you will ever see. It is phenomenal. If you have not been through it, email RCI, starting back in January, and say, this is where I live. I want somebody to come teach it, okay? You need to do that, and you need to go. The reason I did my little book is because in the dementia world, the 365 day is the Bible. And it's about like this. And family members were telling me all the time, I don't have time for it. I can't get through it. I can't read it. My book is a 30-minute read of how to get started and where you need to go. So that's why I did my book. So these are the two things that, other ways that you can get help. And then I know we were going to have questions, so that's why I'm stopping. But if anybody has questions. Did any of that make sense with the team? Okay. Who's going to go home and make a team? The A-team.
All right, so our first question is, as a professional, what do I do if my client says they have no one?
Exactly. They've got somebody. Okay, I have not yet found someone that really has no one. If they really do have no one, then you really do have to go out and get somebody paid. The way you get somebody paid is you have to make sure they're poor. The way you make sure they're poor is you introduce them to David. See, right? In more ways than one, he'll make you poor. So but that's what you've got, and that's something you have to do in advance. But they've got somebody. There are very few people go through this world with nobody. But what happens is, on Sunday morning, I'm going to come up to you and say, hey, if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. And you go, okay. But she never lets me know. So I don't know what she can do. So the one thing you can help is when they say they don't have anybody, is you help them make this list of the things that they need. And you sit down with them and you help them. You say, make the list of all the things you need. And then the next time on Sunday morning when somebody says, if there's anything I can do for you, let me know. You pull that list out and you go, yep, there is. And you read it. And they'll do it.
All right, our next one is, how do you learn to truly let go and let your A-team help when, of course, you always think you can do it better? And how do you not feel guilty doing it?
If you're a caregiver, you're going to feel guilty. I think the two of them go together. We never think we're doing it right. We never think we're doing enough. I don't know how to get over that. You're going to feel guilty. And people aren't going to do it better than you. I can guarantee you now, the people we had in cooking for my mom and daddy, they did not cook better than me. I can promise you that. But it's good. It's good. We do have to just realize that our only job is making sure they're safe and well cared for. And what's so important is to understand that we may not be the best people to do that. I did a talk to social workers, hospice social workers, a few months ago, and we spent about 30 minutes deciding that you should get divorced after 40 years of marriage. And I've been married to Philip for 40 years, so he's on short time now. So, because after 40 years of marriage, there is so much baggage that then when you've got to do this caregiving, they say they see it all the time. The people who haven't been married as long, the caregiving does much better. But when you've got married somebody 50, 60 years, whoo, they say it's rough. So, I don't even remember what the question was now.
It was asking how can you let go when you're 18.
So you've just got to let somebody else do it. The best care given to your loved one may not be the care you give. Okay? Very often is not the care you give. The people who take care of my mama now do a much better job because you know what? We've got 7 people that take care of mama 24 hours a day. One shift comes in and one shift leaves. And they come in fresh. When you're a caregiver, you're tired. They take much care of mama than I could ever take care of my mama.
The next question is, caregivers don't like to ask for help. If you are willing to be a team member for a friend or family, how do you find out what you can do, and how can you offer help without being turned down?
Do it. As a cook, I haven't figured out how to just cook for the 2 of us yet, and I always have leftovers. So if you cook and you have leftovers, take them over to somebody. Don't even wait for them to ask. Just take it. Just do it. Show up at their house, and you show up at their house and you tell them to leave. I love the commercial where the old people go, the old people, they're my age, when the grandparents, it really sucks when you get old and you realize you're old. Okay, when the grandparents go over and they go over to see their kids and their grandchildren and the children hand them the babies and they go, don't leave us with the babies, don't leave us with the babies. That's what you need to do. You need to go over to their house and you need to say, leave, I'm here, I've got it. And sometimes leaving is just sitting on the front porch. If they could just get to the front porch. Or leaving maybe, I want you to go to the bedroom, put earplugs in your ears, bring earplugs with you. Bring earplugs, and I've got this for 30 minutes. Because once they realize that their loved one can survive for 30 minutes without them, then it's going to be 45 minutes. And then it's going to be an hour. But just do it. If you're waiting around and you're trying to help and the person keeps on saying no, just do it. Just do it.
How can I begin this conversation with my parents although they are currently in good health?
Oh, now's the time to do it. As David would jump on that bandwagon. I do a talk called the 40-70 conversation, and it's the conversation everyone needs to have if they are 40 or their parents are 70. And it's exactly this. And this is what you do. And I'm telling you, I cannot tell you how many times I talk to families and the adult children think their mom and dad are financially fine and great, and then they find out there's all these second mortgages on the house. And they don't have all this, and they didn't know. And so you've got to go in and you say, Mom, Dad, I know you're doing great now. I know you're healthy now, but I worry. I'm worried about this, and I need to know what I need to do, and I need you to help me make these decisions because I don't want to make these decisions for you. And you just have to do it, and they're not going to want to do it because nobody wants to talk about it. But you don't give up on them. You just keep on and nag and nag. And adult children are so good at nagging. Just keep on nagging at them. But don't back down when they say no.
Who on the A team is a good position to help with medication management?
Anybody with the right amount of education. We over-medicate our seniors severely. If you're taking more than 5 prescription medications, statistically, there is something interacting negatively with something else, okay? So anybody on your team who has the ability to take that medication list to the pharmacist, not a doctor, to a pharmacist and say, is there anything interacting? Is this the medication they need to be on? Now, you're not going to take them off. You're going to then take it to the doctor and say, this is what the pharmacist said. anyone can do that with certain rules. You know, you have to know things like if the pill doesn't have the line down the middle, you don't split it. You know, if you miss a dose, you don't take it, you just miss it. You know, you've got to know certain rules and regulations. But the important thing, especially with dementia, is once someone's been diagnosed with dementia, they really do not need to be in charge of taking their medicine. You really need someone else to do that. And these little pill boxes, and I'll have families tell me, oh, we put it in their pill box, and when I go see them, you know, the first 3 boxes are empty, so I know they're taking their medicine. So, but really anybody that understands, you don't have to know what this medicine name is, or you just have to have the understanding and education through the pharmacist of helping him or help you see it, and anybody can manage the medication.
What are your thoughts on language? I'm concerned with assuming a caregiver is burden. I recognize it's really tough, but words can make it seem worse.
Words that we get, this is my thing. I think we're too nice. I think we're afraid we're going to hurt the caregiver's feelings. And to me, it's okay. And as a home care agency, which I don't have anything to do with it anymore, but you know, sometimes professionals are afraid to tell you exactly what you need to know because you're going to fire us and not use us. There has got to be somebody to get in their face and tell them exactly what they need to know. We've got to. And that's not being nice. That's telling adult children who say, you're not going to put my mama in a nursing home. You tell that adult child they don't have a dog in the fight. Either they come down and get mama and they stay with mama 24 hours a day, or they can't have a say-so in it. So we're too nice. It's okay to say, you're not making it. I'm watching you and you're not making it. We got to do that.
What are some of the best resources for caregivers?
Dealing with Dementia Guide, I'm telling you, wish we had one. No, I'm telling you, that is the best comprehensive book there is on the market today. That is a wonderful resource. You've got to do that. Sign up for that. Anything you can read, Google it. Teepa Snow. I love Teepa Snow. You can go Google her videos all day long. Any education is good education. You just got to go and go into every workshop you can possibly go to. Any workshop, you need to do that. And talking to other caregivers, because there's a whole slew of things that caregivers don't tell people. You know, as a caregiver, you know, very few people will tell other caregivers, you're going to wish your mama was dead. Who's going to tell anybody that? Yeah. It's not that I want my mama to die. I just want it to be over. And the only way for it to be over is for her to die. So we have caregivers that sit there and they start feeling guilty because they have these feelings and they feel really guilty and they start feeling bad. We need to be able to tell each other. That's why I love support groups. We need to be able to tell each other what's going on.
All right, and our last question. Do you recommend succession planning for your care team?
Succession planning. Do y'all mind telling me who did that so I can understand? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So you've got this care team in place and somebody's the planner with the scheduler and whatever, and your planner drops out.
Peter's out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so you kind of, rather than that, create a crisis in your care team and then everybody's telling you they can't do jobs or whatever, do you talk about or do anything around an idea of cultivating this ongoing care team?
Yeah, in every position, you should always tell the people who hold that position to be looking for their replacement. That's in business, family, wherever. So yeah, so that's what your planner, your scheduler, your doers, everybody should always be looking for who's going to take over when they're no longer doing it. And people are going to rise to the top. You know, you'll have a doer in there that you notice that they're doing some stuff, but they're also planning some stuff. And they're going to rise to the top. But yes, definitely, because they're going to, and that's the thing, the care team you start out with doesn't have to be the care team you end up with. It's going to change, especially as you bring in paid for people.
All right, so that's all the questions that we have. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you. Anything else? I have a few more. I have another slide to sum it up, but anything else? Any other question that didn't get answered? Okay, good. You want to tell me about lunch?
Yes, it's now time for lunch. That's going to be in the lobby. There is both seating inside and outside, although it's raining. So.
Outside with an umbrella only.
Okay, so we'll be back in here at 1 p.m.
Okay? Now, remember, you do not have to do this alone. People really want help. Mike talked about when the wife would fall down, when Carol would fall, people would come around and help. People want to help. They just don't know what to do. So you need to ask them. You need to reach out to them, and they will be there to help you. So I hope y'all enjoy lunch, and hopefully this music will work. It may not either. We're just not going to have any music today. There we go. Y'all go to lunch. Oh, the book! Look! Yay! What do you want to say about your book? This is a book. Before you go to lunch, if you want to see it, it is here. Do not take it with you, but it is here, and you really do need to go. It is excellent. Talks about taking better care of yourself, dealing with behavior issues. Let me tell you, you are the cause of all the behavior issues when dealing with dementia. We think it is the person with dementia. It is not. It is you. Okay? This is a great book. So come look at it before you go. There you go.